Hello, and welcome to a new series in TFT, where I will be playing on a smurf account, and I will try to climb the ranks through Iron all the way until Master. And as you can see here, I'm already Iron 2. I finished my provisionals. I kind of just trolled in those games because I did not want to climb with inflated LP, and I also kind of just wanted to make it a little bit more fair. For those of you who want to know who I am, I will link my main account, LolChess, in the description. But essentially, I'm a Grandmaster player. I hover around Grandmaster every single set, ever since set 8. In set 8 and 8.5, I also hit Challenger, so I would like to say that I am fairly good at TFT. Obviously, I'm not as good as the top players, but I will just see what I can do with an account from Iron to Master. Now, the main purpose of this series is just to provide some content for you to watch, as well as help you understand how to improve at TFT, if that's what you're looking for. So with that being said, that's pretty much it for the introduction. I won't make any long intros like this in any of my other videos, so sorry if this intro was a little bit long. Alright, so here we go. Starting off, we have Prismatic Finale, Item Payout, or Larger Legends. Pretty decent portals. I'll just let the lobby decide. I'll just play whatever the game gives me. Out of all these portals, I think my favorite one is probably Prismatic Finale, just because it spices up the game a little bit. I know some people aren't the biggest fan of Prismatic Augments, but I think they're pretty fun to play around if you know how to play around them. But it looks like we got Item Payout. The nerfed version of the Glass Industries from the previous sets. This one only gives you 2 gold, but that's just because of the XP changes they made in set 10. If it was 3 gold, it would be a little bit too good, so they nerfed it down. So we got a Lulu here. Probably won't play around it because Lulu early game is really not that good. But maybe if I hit some Spellweavers, I'll consider playing it. So our headliner here is Vi, but I'm not going to take it because Vi is a pretty bad unit. She's not really a tank, and she doesn't really do damage either. So if you're investing that into a headliner, she doesn't really do much for your board. Alright, so I sold the Lulu there just to buy these 2 pairs, or these 2 champions here, just because, like I said earlier, I probably won't play with, play around the unit that much. Lulu is not very good early game, in my opinion. She doesn't do that much for your board. So whatever headliner I'll hit next round, I'll just play around that. But let's see our augments. Okay, so according to Meta TFT overlay, it shows the placements of the augments. Learning to spell is not very good. I don't like this augment. Usually it's just Spellweavers, but yeah, it's just not a really good augment. This one, the Dazzler augment, I don't really like either. Ground Guard is okay. I could probably just take this for the 2-star Taric I have, but I'm just gonna reroll and see what I get, and then Gargantua and Resolve. Okay, so I'm gonna settle with the Reese Company just because this thing gives you a lot of gold and a little bit of tempo as well. We'll see what we get here. So it looks like 2 Guardian. We can play Nami as our backliner, and then we'll just level up and put in a random unit. I probably shouldn't have taken so much time to try to explain each augment individually, but basically my augment choices there, Crown Guarded was okay, Three's Company was also fine. The only one I probably would avoid at all costs is Learning to Spell, just because that augment is just not very good. I would not recommend taking it. I'm gonna sell the Mordekaiser and see what we get in the shop here. So it looks like we could take out this, and what else can we play? Maybe a Cassante 2, sell the Ergot pairs. So normally, maybe this might be a good spot for country because you have 2 Ergots, but looking at our items here, I have a Rod, which is not very good for the country comp. So I'm just gonna sell 2 Ergots, maybe make a Rage Blade or something on this Nabi. But we'll see. I do have to keep in mind this is iron, so I probably should not be tryharding this much. But the key to building a good early game board is to basically have a good front line and a good back line. You don't want to have too many melee units, and you don't want to have too many backline units. Otherwise, you either have no damage, or you have no survivability. So your whole team just gets run over. Two-star Lilia. Two-star Lilia is probably better than Cassante with no items. So let's just build a Rage Blade here to get 20 gold. And we should be good to go. An important thing to keep in mind with Three's Company is with set 10, they did not change this augment. It still gives you 4 3-cost champions, which is 12 gold. And 12 gold in the early game for set 10 is actually quite good because you can make econ pretty easily. And when you make econ pretty early in the game, then you can reach level 8 pretty quickly. And when you reach level 8 pretty quickly, you can usually just out-tempo your opponents. And it makes for an easy top 4. Or you can have a bunch of gold at level 7 and just roll for a level 7 comp. It really just depends on what you're planning to do that game. But basically in set 10, the earlier you make 10 gold, the better it is. Alright, so to make this a little bit fair, I will not pick up a carousel item. I'll just let the game give me whatever. I want to give these players a chance. But I'll also show you, let's say for example, I was last pick here, and I get a random item I don't want. I'll show you how to play around your items, so you can just build a decent board in the end game. So obviously here we get a bow, which allows us to make a hurricane, which is something I'm not going to do because hurricane on a Nami doesn't do anything. So let's just chill and wait for the Krugs to come up. We could bow the Nami though, just to help her gain a little bit of Rage Blade stacks quicker. Now normally I would not think my board is that strong right now because I only have 1 backlaner, 4 frontlaners. So if I was playing in a lobby where people were more skilled, then yeah, this board would probably lose. It's because it's not very good. Not insulting these iron players, but yeah, they're just not very good at the game. So in this shop here, we hit the KDA Kaisa, which is actually something I'm going to play because we get 3 KDA. We can play 2 big shots. I'm not going to slam the Hurricane because I think Hurricane's a pretty terrible item right now. But this could be our board right now, and we should be good to go. So I don't plan on playing this set right now, so let's just sell him. If we level up, I'm going to play the 2-star Cassante. Just for the 2 Sentinel and 1 more frontliner. A question a lot of people have when to transition your headliner is when should you pick up a new headliner? It really just depends. The general guideline for me is if my board is losing, sell your current headliner and start rolling and get a better one. If you're looking for a damage headliner, obviously you want to look for a backliner. If you have tank items, then obviously try to look for a tank headliner. But I wouldn't roll too much though, because you still need to catch up with the lobby. So I'd say just roll a few times. Try to hit a 2-cost or a 3-cost ideally. Really just depends on what stage you're in. But you just want to transition your headliner if you're losing a lot of fights. Alright, so based on our items here, it looks like we can make Even Shroud, Nashor's Tooth, or a Warmog's Armor. I'm probably just going to go with Warmog's, because up until this point, I don't have a frontline item. Although you could argue that slamming Nesher's Tooth here is actually better. But since I already have an attack speed item against his Rage Blade, I think just the Giant Spell is better. Now, what's important here is who to put this Warmogs on. You want to put it on your Guardian champions because they scale off max HP. I'm going to put it on the Taric because he's 2-star. Mumu, if he was 2-star, you would want to put the Warmogs on him instead. That's also pre-level. Infusion country. That's pretty interesting. I actually don't know if I'm gonna win this fight. Maybe. Pretty close. But that was a pretty close fight. Alright, augment. Now, Pandora's items here, do not take it. Pandora's items is just really bad in general. I would not take this. If they reverted this to 2 components instead of a completed item, I think it would be better. But I would not take it right now. Rich get richer, I could take this just to try hard, but I'm not going to do that. Martyr is okay. It's just a generally good augment, just to keep your team alive. Crash test dummies, I would normally take this if this was a real game. But seeing as I'm in Iron, I'm gonna go a little bit easy on these guys. And let's see. Inspiring, yeah. Idealism. Let's just take Idealism. Put the Hand of Justice on the Kaisa to do a little bit more damage. An important thing about augment choices is you don't want to just pick augments based on their placement. You want to pick augments that are good for your current board. So even if an augment has an average placement of 5, if it's good for your current board, then it's fine to take. Although you do have to know how to play around it, so that's why a lot of people are not comfortable picking augments with lower average placements. Alright, so we have one of these situations here, where if you hit a new headliner, and it's a really big upgrade, but you don't want to sell your current one because it's a pretty big downgrade from your damage, what do? Well, in this case, I have an Amumu pair, and this Amumu is not really going to have items except for a Warmogs. So I think it's fine not to take it. You could argue that it is stronger, but I don't have take items, so the Mumu headliner is not going to do as much as a Kaisa 2 headliner with 2 items. But I also didn't have time to transition the board, so I just kind of let it sit there. So just like before, no carousel item. I'll just let the opponents pick whatever they want, and then whatever the game gives me, I'll play around it. So it looks like it's going to give me tier. For those of you who don't know, if there's a higher cost unit, it'll always give it to you. So for our level up, we could just play whatever. Let's just play another Mumu. So with our items here, again, I really don't want to make Hurricane. I don't really think it's a good item. I could probably make like Giant Slayer or something like that. So we'll just make an Adaptive Helm on the Taric, just to give him a little bit more tankiness. Also, up until this point, I haven't scouted just because this is Iron. I don't need to. Sounds like I'm being mean to these players, but they just don't know any better. I'm not actually insulting these players. It's just they don't know any better. So there's kind of no point in scouting. I'll do it when I claim the ranks. because it'll be essential to do that. But for right now, it's fine. It's iron. So here, I hit an Ari, which I can play 5 KDA if I want, which I'm probably going to do because 2 Sentinel is not that important anymore. This Taric already has a lot of resistances from the Dat film. And then 5 KDA is going to give these KDA units a big buff. So I'm just gonna play 5 KDA here and let this Kaisa carry. Now I know I said it wasn't scouting, but set head is pretty important for scouting because there's units that have AoE, like Seraphine, Corki, like these early game carries that do a lot of AoE damage. So if you clump your units together, you're going to end up probably losing more fights than you would expect just because these units have a lot of AoE. So if you're playing in games, just be careful. Watch out for Corki early game. He actually does a pretty big chunk of damage with his AoE, so just be careful. If you were to clump your units, like, just pretend this was a frontliner, then your Corki would hit these 3 units here. Once he's done dealing with them, it'll also hit these as well. And so, just something to watch out for. Okay, so since we got another Sentinel unit, we can just level up here. Place them in, we can sell the Cassante now. And now we can see what item we can make. It looks like just slam a Cram Guard. Get our final bow component off Carousel. So let's just make this Taric triple item. The Crown Guard and the Warmogs work really well together to buy time for this Kaisa to clean up the fight. Alright, so augments. Final Ascension, Impenetrable Bulwark, Harm Assist. In my opinion, the best augment here is Harm Assist, just because the Idealism works really well with it. Impenetrable Bulwark, probably not, because I already have tank items. I don't need it. Although you could put it on the Amumu here if you want. Final Ascension is okay, but since I already have damage with Idealism, I think I don't need it, so let's reroll. Binary Airdrop, no. So let's just take Bulwark, just to show you if you take an augment. That's not the best for your board, but it's okay as well. Alright, so just to make sure I don't try hard too much, next turn I'm going to roll for a level 8 board, just to show you in those situations where you're ahead in your games and you have a lot of gold, you're not in a position to go 9, but you also are in a position to get tanks on your board, or just get a 4-cost carry. Then I'll show you what to roll for in general. Alright, so we hit the Jin here, which is pretty high roll. I'm not going to play it though, just because I want to show you a level 8 roll down. So let's sell a headliner and just start rolling. We hit a Lux. I don't have Lux items, so let's not play it. I'm looking for something like maybe an Ezreal carry. So we'll see. So we had a 2-star Blitzcrank. Let's just play Kiana for now and replace that. So this round, I'm not playing with a headliner, so I might lose the fight, but that's okay. In general, when you're rolling down on level 8, you just want to look for any 4-cost frontline. It could be Blitzcrank, it could be Thresh. You could also play a 2-star Mumu. 2-star Mumu is actually quite good. It really just depends on what you hit. You just want any frontliner. And then a backline carry to carry your items. When a lot of people are confused about rolling down on level 8, they really just try to roll down for a very specific board. But I would just say, as long as you have a backliner and a frontliner that you can use your items, pretty well, then you're good to go. So let's wait for this carousel, and I'll just roll down for a 4-cost carry that I can play around. Rolling a 4-cost headliner has a 30% chance, so let's start rolling. Not Viego. I don't care about Misfortune. 8-bit. No thank you. Okay, so we hit a frontliner, Thresh. Let's just play it. The next round, we'll move the items over to the Thresh. Now, the reason why I didn't take the headliner Caitlyn was just because I think Caitlyn's a pretty bad unit. That's the only 4-cost unit I wouldn't play around right now. But if I had something like a Ezreal, I think it's pretty good to get you to level 9. I mean, we hit a 2-star Caitlyn. I'll just play around it until I hit something like Ezreal. There we go. Okay. So let's do this here. We'll drop the Lilia. We'll also move these items over to Thresh, because we have 2 Guardian in. We could also just put something like Nashor's Tooth, Tier on Kiana. So you're looking to roll for a board something like this. If you're trying to go level 9 or something like that in your head, basically you have a strong front line, a decent backliner. Caitlyn's not really a good example, but something like this. Then you want to build Econ and go level 9. Now, since I'm in Iron, I didn't get punished for my really bad rolldowns, but this is pretty much what you're looking to do. Don't worry about meta, don't worry about specific boards you want to build. Just as long as you have a board that can carry you and not lose so much HP, then you should be able to make it to level 9 and then play around legendaries. And in some cases, you don't even need to go level 9. If the lobby is not very strong, you can actually just win out at level 8. Or maybe you could go level 9, but you don't really need to play legendaries. So it's lobby dependent. But for the most part, decent backline, decent front line, usually will yield you a top 4. You can also play other splash units or splash traits if you want, like Jazz. But here, since I hit the Kiana early, I'll just play around the Kiana. Let's build a Hand of Justice to give her the Idealism buff. Then component item. I think here, red buff is okay. I don't have any anti-heal, so she could give a little bit of anti-heal as well. One other important thing, too, is things like traits like Rapid Fire. You don't necessarily have to play it if you already have attack speed items. So that's why I don't have a Rapid Fire champion in. You can just play whatever the game gives you and build boards like this. Now, some of you might be thinking, this isn't a very good example because you're an Iron, you don't get punished. Which is true, but again, once I climb higher in the ranks, I'll show you my roll downs. This one, I try to also roll down a little bit slow, just to show you when you roll down what you're trying to look for. I didn't want to just completely try hard to make the video unwatchable, because I'm assuming a lot of people who will be interested in this to learn TFT are not going to be Master or a Grandmaster. So let's just, I'm just going to assume a lot of people are people who are willing to learn, so I'll make the videos just a little bit easier to watch. Looks like Kiana farmed an item component for us. Now, I'm not going to go level 9 this game, just to show you what it's like to play around a level 8 board. So here, it looks like the upgrades I can hit are Yorick over Amumu. But that has to be a Yorick 2. I think Amumu 2 is still better than Yorick 1. So let's just keep rolling. Looks like we didn't hit anything that turn. I'm not gonna go for 3 stars either because it feels a little too sweaty. I'm gonna settle with 2 stars on my board. So it looks like there's 3 players left. This guy is playing a level 9, looking to play a level 9 legendary board. This person is just playing a standard KDA board. So we'll see what the game gives us. The highest cost unit is Poppy and Blitzcrank, so it's either going to give me Edge of Night or Shiv. Looks like it gave me Edge of Night. Let's put that on Kiana. So there we go, 2-star Ezreal. Maybe Kiana can farm some item components so he can get some 80 items. Now this board normally would not win out in higher elo, but it's definitely enough to get you a top 4. If you ever have those games where you feel like you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what to play around, you just basically have no direction, this is the thing you can do to squeeze out a top 4, just to make sure that you manage the top 4 in a game. We all have those games where we play, we have our items in the early game, and then we just bleed out to an 8th place because we have no idea what to do. So let's see here, can we beat this person? 2-star Sona. Probably not. I'm pretty sure this person beats my board, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's a 2-star Sona. So if I don't melt their front line quick enough, then I'm going to end up losing the fight. Like I said, I'm not going to go level 9. I'll give this person a chance. I'm not going to play around 3 stars, except for maybe 4 costs. So if this person wins, they can have their first place. Again, don't want to be sweaty in iron. Yeah, so like I said earlier, a board like this probably won't win out against boards that are level 9 like this. But let's say, for example, this person did not get level 9. This board would have just been able to win you the game. Obviously, now that I rolled all my gold and trolled a little bit, I'm not going to win this game. But it's just an example to show you that in those games where you just don't know what to do with your items or whatever you're trying to do, then the best thing to do is just to roll down for a board. Something like this. 2 frontliners, 3 frontliners. Maybe like a legendary unit like Kiana, and then have these backline units just do damage. Obviously, it's not the best board in the world, but it can squeeze you a top 4. So we're gonna let this player have their first place, because again, I don't want to be sweaty in iron. I'll just save that for the higher ranks. We could get a 2-star Kiana here, but I doubt that changes anything. And also it looks like they took it because they don't want me to have it. Or maybe because they have a Kiana pair as well. You could also do something like this, drop the Kiana, play 2 Jazz, 2 Rapid Fire. But like I said earlier, Rapid Fire doesn't really do that much if you have a lot of attack speed already. So, whatever. We'll just see how this board performs. I could have played the Yorick over the Amumu, but it's fine. I think Amumu, like I said earlier, Amumu 2 is still better than Yorick 1, especially with 2 items. But it really depends. If you need Shred and Sunder, maybe Yorick is better. Maybe this video wasn't the best example at how to stabilize at level 8, but in the future, I'll try to make the videos a little bit more clear on my intentions and what I'm doing. This is my first time recording TFT and talking at the same time, so yeah, sorry if this video is a little scuffed. If you made it this far in the video, feel free to give me suggestions on how I can improve. I was looking to just basically play TFT and just talk, but yeah, if you need suggestions, feel free to let me know. So there's the second place. Based off new account elo and all that, I'm assuming I'm gonna get a lot of LP, so let's see. So yeah, it looks like I was Iron 2 and it promoted me to Bronze 4. What a really big achievement for my account. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. As I climb the ranks, these videos will be a little bit more informative. Since this is Iron, I'm not really trying, I'm also just giving the players kind of a chance to play. So yeah, once I climb the ranks, I will start to actually show you more ways on how to play around your items, play around your comps, things like that. Basically, how to improve at TFT.